So something pretty big just happened, and it kind of flew under the radar. One of the biggest names in tech, OpenAI, just quietly backflipped on a huge ethical promise. And, this could change everything about AI and even warfare. We're going to break down what happened and maybe more importantly, why it happened. Okay, so to really get why this is such a huge deal, we've got to go back a bit. We need to look at what OpenAI's policy used to be. And look, this wasn't just some fine print in their terms of service, okay? This was a core part of who they said they were, a huge piece of their whole building safe AI identity. For a long time, OpenAI's rulebook was super clear. It said, essentially, no military and warfare applications, period. This wasn't just some suggestion. It was what they called a safety guardrail. It was their public promise to be responsible, and honestly, it's what made them seem different. It was this line in the sand that they promised they would never cross. But then, poof, without some big press conference or anything, the wording just changed. That specific ban on military and warfare, it just got deleted, gone. And just like that, one of their most important ethical rules vanished into thin air. So, you gotta ask, right? What changed? Why would a company that was all about safe, beneficial AI suddenly swing the doors wide open for the Pentagon? Well, as it so often does, the answer seems to follow the money. And to really get a grip on this U-turn, we have to do just that. Follow the money. Because this wasn't just a simple policy tweak. It looks a lot like a move that was forced by some serious financial pressure. You see, our sources don't even frame this as some big ethical debate inside the company. They call it a desperate business necessity. Now, that phrase right there tells you a lot, doesn't it? It suggests OpenAI wasn't just shopping for new clients. They were fighting for survival. And to understand that desperation, we have to talk about something called a burn rate. Burn rate, it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's how fast a company is just burning through its cash before it actually starts making a profit. And for a company like OpenAI, think about the insane amount of computing power they need. The costs are just astronomical. And it's really hard to even wrap your head around the scale of their spending. You've got the energy costs, the super specialized computer chips, hiring the smartest people in the world. It all adds up to this giant financial bonfire. And that is incredibly hard to keep fueled without some massive, steady stream of cash coming in. And right here, this is the heart of the issue. You would think with millions of people using ChatGPT, they'd be set. But the truth is, all those monthly subscriptions, even the bigger deals with companies, they just don't cut it. They don't even come close to covering that massive burn rate. The math it doesn't work. They needed a customer on a whole different level. So what do you do when your business is just hemorrhaging cash? You start looking for what our source calls an ever-reliable lifeline. And, well, when it comes to high-tech contracts, there aren't many customers more reliable or with deeper pockets than the US government. Think about it. Where do you possibly find a customer big enough to solve a multi-billion-dollar problem? There are very, very few options on the table. In fact, one client really stands head and shoulders above all the rest. And this chart, wow, it really tells the whole story, doesn't it? The money you can make from the consumer market is fine. It's big. But then you look at the Pentagon's budget for AI, and it just dwarfs everything else. We're not talking about a slightly bigger customer here. We're talking about a customer that's playing in a completely different financial league. And that's exactly why that word bailout feels so right. This isn't just about winning another contract. For OpenAI, landing these huge defense contracts, well, that could be the financial lifeline that keeps the whole company afloat for the long haul. But a lifeline like that doesn't come for free. It has a price. And in this case, the price was one of OpenAI's most important ethical principles. This timeline here really lays out the whole journey. It all starts with a clear principle, a hard and fast rule against military work. Then comes the pressure, that massive burn rate that just becomes a full-blown financial crisis. And that leads, almost like it's inevitable, to the pivot. They change the rules to secure the deal. When you break it down, the logic here is almost brutally simple. Step 1, you realize your company is burning through cash at a rate you just can't sustain. Step 2, you pinpoint the one customer in the world that's big enough to save you. And then, step 3, you get rid of anything that's standing in your way, even if it's one of your founding principles. Now, it's easy to just focus on OpenAI here, but this story is really a signal of a much bigger shift that's happening all across Silicon Valley. This is about more than just one company changing its mind. It's about the entire relationship between big tech and the government. So why should you care about all this?
Well, first, it's a pretty stark reminder that even the strongest sounding ethical rules can break when a company is under enough financial stress. Second, that line we used to imagine between consumer tech companies and the military is getting really, really blurry. And third, this could literally be the new playbook for big AI. Maybe the real money isn't in subscriptions after all, but in government contracts.
And that leaves us with this huge question, right? Is this whole Pentagon thing just a one-time bailout for a company that got into financial trouble? Or are we watching the birth of the new standard business model for the entire AI industry? The answer to that is probably going to define the next decade of technology.